What is going on, comic and pop culture fans? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mark. This is Legion of Comics. And after last week's video, I kind of decided I'll try this again, just kind of doing a discussion, topical, almost rant style video. Last week's was fun. If you missed it, check it out. This week, we're going to be covering another phrase that I hear often that's been around for a while, and I feel like it has room to be unpacked and discussed. This week, we're going to be talking about, are comics for everyone? If you want to unpack this with me, don't go anywhere. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Appreciate everybody watching, but if you're new to the channel, I'd like to point you in the direction of some fantastic folks. First, you can find them in the description, but Big Time Collectibles is a fantastic online retailer. Definitely give them my stamp of approval. And if you need anything cleaner press, my friend Justin's got you covered. He's phenomenal at what he does. You can find him on Instagram, link below. And a huge shout out to my local comic shop, ABX Comics and Games, where I pick up all my comics every week, and they have a fantastic Facebook group. So no matter where you are, you can find something down in the comments below. So like I said, this kind of sparked out of last week's video. It got a lot of response, a lot of feedback, tons of people in the comments. I really appreciate that. I enjoyed the discussion, and I figured I'd give it a second attempt. These videos are kind of fun. It's a little bit different than what I've typically done on my channel, trying to steer away from unboxings. And this is something that I feel like splits the community in numerous aspects. Are comics for everyone? You hear it said often, comics are for everyone. It's said about numerous things, not just comic books, but how these comics have translated into television and into film. A lot of times you'll hear people say when a movie's coming out and you hear the phrase, no one asked for this. And then your response to that is comics are for everyone, or this is for everyone. Of course, we need a Miss Marvel TV show because it's for everyone, and all kinds of stuff like this. And I really felt like it'd be a decent video to make because the response to some of that stuff has been less than spectacular. A lot of stuff these days is kind of flopping or not having a good performance, or people aren't showing up or showing out or buying books like they used to. And maybe there's a little disconnect with the medium and the audience at times. So it made me think, are comic books for everyone? Is this the kind of mentality that the creators need to be approaching this with? Because it might not be the case. You know, if you do not enjoy one of these things, if you're vocal about not enjoying it, you're quickly told it wasn't for you. But it's for everyone. But it's not for you. But it's for everyone. But it's not for you. So it kind of gets a little weird. It gets a little gray area. As with all things in life, it's not white or black. There's definitely gray area here. So it made me start thinking about it for a little bit. And I was thinking, are comics for everyone? And then I realized really fast, absolutely not. Comics are not for everybody. Just like baseball isn't for everybody. Just like being a competitive barbecue cooker like Rob's Fat Stacks is not for everybody. Nothing in this life is for everybody, except maybe air. I think air is for everybody. Shout out to God. Appreciate the air. But it's pretty kind of common sense that nothing is for everybody. There's always other tastes, always things that we enjoy, and that's okay. You know, if you come and try out comic books, if you get like a little itch and you want to start diving into some of this and you find that you don't like it or you don't care for it or that wasn't your jam, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with the medium. It doesn't mean that it's broken. It's been working just fine since 1938, pretty successfully, I might add, since 1938. I mean, it was only a couple of years after Action Comics #1 came out that it was already having superheroes on silver screen and serial format, and they've been rocking and rolling ever since. So I don't know where along the way people thought like we have to do so much more to make comics represent X, Y, Z, and everything in between, because it's been just fine. Like, you've had successful franchises like the X-Men that, despite having like Marvel Comics tank them and everything, have stood the test of time and had a huge resurgence with X-Men '97 because they just connect with everybody oh so well and people absolutely love them. Now, the beautiful thing about comics, and this is where the gray area comes in, there's always been pockets of different content. You know, you have like the big two, the Marvel, the DC, the classic style superheroes with all the tropes involved with them. But then you've always had independent publishers, as far back as you can think, outside of Marvel and DC, that's where like real creativity happens, like real like cutting edge stuff. People would experiment with the medium and push the boundaries and push the envelope. And you can always find something in there that's like outside of the norm of what superheroes are doing. So in a sense, comics can be for everybody in that aspect, that you can always find something that you're into in there. So there's always been a certain demographic for books, that I feel like that demographic is kind of being ignored these days, which isn't always a bad thing either. It's really a way that we can take our classic superheroes and push them to new areas and stuff, but it gets difficult. It's like walking on eggshells, because when you push these classic superheroes and their tropes and like what it means to be those characters, you can lose sight of who they are and completely fail for the audience. A perfect example of that would be Zack Snyder's DC universe. While I love it, he kind of pushed the characters and explored aspects of the characters in a way that far removed them from their classic tropes, and it completely lost the audience. People didn't think Superman was hopeful and thought Batman was too mean and stuff like this. It's like walking on a fine line. So in that sense, like, a lot of people would say that making those superheroes are not for Zack Snyder, that he doesn't have the proper understanding of those characters to bring them to life for a general audience. And the same can be said for a lot of creators that are writing these books, and even more so for a lot of these content creators out there that absolutely drive me nuts. Typically called outrage channels, engagement farmers. There's tons of these channels out there that all they do is post content every day talking about what they dislike about the medium. Anytime news drops on a comic book, they have to hate it because it's too different or it's too this, and they haven't even read it yet. So this kind of swings both ways. Comics clearly are not for them anymore. Comics have been evolving since 1938, and they will continue to evolve for as long as they exist. And sometimes the direction they go isn't going to just land with some people, and it's no longer the demographic. You no longer fit into that demographic for these books anymore. That doesn't mean comics aren't around that you wouldn't enjoy. That just means maybe growing up reading Spider-Man, it just, you've matured past it, or it has matured past you, or vice versa, and it's not for you anymore. I decided that there's definitely some books out there that aren't for me, and I let them go. Like the current Shazam title is just too campy, too corny, too childlike. It's not for me. It's not for me, and that's okay that it's not for me. They don't need to do anything different to that book to make it for me, or to like play to my nostalgia or anything like that. The book is perfectly fine. It's a taste thing, and that's okay. I think people forget that taste is okay. You're allowed to dislike something without being attacked for it. But at the same time, just because you dislike it doesn't mean it gets a pass. So this is a total black and white back and forth here. I feel like it's, no matter how you approach this, it feels like a cop-out at times, but it's just weird how people just lose track of that along the way. I'm curious what other people might think. If do you think that comics are made for everybody, or do you think it's okay to not like it? I don't go to a baseball game screaming mad that there aren't superheroes there, because I like superheroes, and a baseball game should have it. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Are comics for everyone? Till next time. As always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.